It is Monday and already noon, and I will start this week off by making it possible to load game contents out of a text file. The purpose is to make it a bit easier for me to add new things and edit old things, for example dialogues and which asset and image to load for which character and all those kind of things. Just makes it a bit easier to work on the game. Also, it will be used to define quests and conditions for quests and all those kind of things. So I will use JSON as file format. If you are interested about my approach, then you can find some resources in the description that I link below. So I'll get started right away. I'm about to go to sleep, but I just wanted to show you real quick that I can now load files from the JSON format that I talked about, and I currently can load dialogues out of my file format. So this is working pretty well, and I can now choose dialogue options. So that is that, and I'll go take a rest now because I'm pretty tired. It is almost 9 AM and I will need to be in the lab at 10 AM, so I have a bit of time left and I will use that time to clean the code a little bit. Okay, it is around 4 PM now and I'm currently home. I'm taking a short break from lab work, but I will need to return soon again. But in the meantime, I continued working a little bit more on the game, and what I managed to implement is the following. So first you can see this amazingly designed painting that took me ages to create. If you want to learn how to paint something like this, let me know, I will gladly make a tutorial. Other than that, you can see that conversations are now properly working. So he's asking a question, and if I select this answer, I will get the appropriate route for this answer. And if I select the other answer, I will get the other route. So the way I do this is by using the JSON format that I talked earlier about, and I define a conversation. For example, this is conversation with the ID 1, and each conversation consists of many frames. So one frame is basically one block of text that it gets displayed. So you can see, for example, that this is the block, oh man, I really don't know, blah blah blah. And for each frame I define which speaker is speaking and also which expression the speaker has. And where I define the speaker is in a different JSON file where you can see the expression name, which is green slime in that case, and the appropriate expressions. So for example, for the sad expression, the speaker uses the Bob sad image, and for the shrug expression uses the Bob shrug image. And in the conversations now, for the routes, so you can see if there is a question asked. So am I not sensitive enough? You can see that I have two options. One option is I think you should apologize, and one option is she's overreacting, and depending on which option I choose, I get a different outcome. So outcome 2 would be the third frame. It's always number plus 1 frame in the list. So this is the first frame, this is the second frame, and this is the third frame, so it's 2 plus 1. So I would get this outcome, and it would go here, and I would have a close here. And if I select the fourth one, the second option, which has outcome 4, I would go to, so this is 3 to this is 2, 3, and 4. So I would get this outcome, and alright, I was just so hungry. And I also have a close here. So this is how I do it. If you want to know more about it, you can let me know and I will try to explain it better, maybe in a separate video. But yeah, I think it's coming along great. So I don't have much time more to work today probably, so I'll need to see what I do the next day. It is around 12:30 on Friday, and I was cleaning a bit of the code in the early morning, and what I managed to do yesterday is the following. I have implemented now a time cycle, so you can see that the date is changing after the time skips to the next day, and also you can already see that I have a day and night cycle implemented. The way I do this is by defining a quadratic function which maps the current hour of the day as well as the current minute to a sun intensity. The highest possible intensity that I defined is 1 and the lowest possible intensity that I defined is 0.2. However, looking at the graph you will notice that some points overshoot or undershoot those limits. These points will just get clamped down to their according limits. And the reason why I'm doing it like this is because I wanted the highest and the lowest intensity to exist for a longer period of time. For example, this way it can be much longer dark. If you look at the graph, you notice that the lowest intensity is reached around 10:30 for the first time, and it stays the lowest intensity until around 1:30 AM until the sun starts rising slowly again. If you have some questions or if you are interested in the detailed implementation, feel free to let me know in the comments, and I'll try to answer it as best as I can, or I'll just make a separate video explaining it in more detail. The next thing I implemented yesterday is giving each NPC its own behavior depending on the current time. So you can see that this NPC gives a different response depending on what time it currently is. It is now around 8:30 PM, and I created a quick little ugly house, and I will use this for implementing changing maps. And also I will use this for finally implementing collision detection. To this day, after over a month, I still haven't implemented collision detection. So this shouldn't happen, obviously. It is now around 4 PM, and I worked the whole last evening and the whole morning today and was able to implement a few things. So first of all, I finally implemented collision detection. So I can see that the collision with the walls is now functioning. Also, I added the support for foreground layers, so when the player moves behind the roof, it gets rendered above the player. And the most exciting thing is changing maps. So now when I collide with the door, I can change the map. And as you can see as well, world collision is now as well functioning. This wasn't functioning before as well. It's looking much more like a game now, and the things that I will implement next will probably be the basics of the quest system. So killing enemies and getting things and all those things related to it. But first I will need to edit today's video, and I will start to do this now. So this is it for this week's devlog video. I think we had a really successful week this time, and I still cannot believe that this was already week 5. As usual, thank you so much for tuning in and for your supporting comments, and I hope to see you around next time. So until then, bye bye!